If Caitlin Clark is the quote-unquote savior, if she's the golden girl, milk it.
Reality is knocking on the door of the porta potty. The truth is finally coming to the light. The same light that is going to be dimming here in about 12 hours when Caitlin Clark is eliminated from the playoffs. I know the mainstream media wants us to believe.
Did you watch the WNBA playoffs without Caitlin Clark? Probably not, because almost no one else did either. Viewership took a huge hit, crashing from 1.8 million down to just 161,000.
Ratings for Game 1 have got to be disappointing for Kat Engelbert and the WNBA front office. There were regular season games this season where Caitlin Clark drew more than 1.8 million viewers. However, I hope Kat Engelbert is ready for disappointment because there's a hell of a lot more of it on the way. There were 3 other games in the WNBA on Sunday night.
That's not just a small drop, it's a total crash. And now the big question is on everyone's mind. Is the WNBA in real trouble without its biggest new star?
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years. Some people get famous on art.
Let's take a moment to talk about Clark. She didn't just join the league, she completely shook things up.
From merchandising sales to new sponsorships to television ratings absolutely going through the roof to attendance to sellouts at basketball games to all-star games with record attendance both in person and on television. It is safe to say, North America, that the Caitlin Clark effect has taken over the WNBA at this point.
The Indiana Fever went from being overlooked to serious playoff contenders, and it was all thanks to her. Imagine going from unknown to unstoppable that quickly. But here's the scary part. Without Clark, the WNBA is facing empty arenas and TV ratings that are downright painful to look at.
WNBA ratings are embarrassing without Caitlin Clark. 0 games have sold out in the playoffs. Outside of Caitlin Clark, there was not a single game that eclipsed 500,000 viewers. Hell, they weren't even close to doing that. Once she is eliminated,
it's like the party's over and everyone just left. So now the real question is, has the WNBA put all its hopes on one player? And what happens if that one star can't carry the weight? Stick around, because we're about to break down why this matters so much for the future of women's basketball. Remember when the Indiana Fever were just another team? Now they're playoff contenders, and it's all because of one woman.
This woman is box office, plus she can play. And the combination of the two would ultimately get...
But here's the kicker. Caitlin Clark isn't just transforming her team. She's rewriting the entire playbook for the WNBA.
Let's put this in its proper perspective. When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude.
And the numbers? They tell a story you'd never expect.
I'm just looking at some of the numbers here. When we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
Let's talk about Clark's rookie season. These aren't just good stats. We're talking about numbers that make basketball historians stop and take notice.
I think we see that. We see the capability on the basketball court. She can shoot, she can handle, she certainly can pass, okay? I look at it from that standpoint and I say mad respect. Are there other players in the WNBA that...
In her playoff debut, Clark made history as the first rookie in WNBA history to score at least 25 points, grab 5 rebounds, and dish out 5 assists. That's not just breaking records, it's setting new standards of greatness.
Because at the end of the day, with her WNBA rookie season complete, let's see it. Most points by a point guard in a season in WNBA history. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA. First WNBA rookie to record 2 triple-doubles. First triple-double by a rookie in WNBA history.
But hold on, it gets even crazier.
A career 10 or more assists in a game. How about that? Franchise record for most career 10 or more assists in a game. Fastest WNBA player to reach 100 three-pointers. She did it in 34 games. Most assists by a rookie in a WNBA All-Star game, for which she received the most fan votes ever. 700,000 of those. Fastest player to reach 350 points and 150 assists to start a season, regardless of years in the league. That's not a rookie record. That's just a record for anybody.
Over the entire playoff series, Clark averaged 18 points, 5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block per game. You know who else has posted numbers like that in the playoffs? Nobody. Not a single player in WNBA history has matched this stat line. We're talking Michael Jordan level territory here. Now, you might be thinking, all right, great stats, but what does this really mean for the league? Let me paint you a picture.
And the attention that she brought to a women's league and a women's side, if you will, of the sport is just, I think, hopefully going to have a residual effect for years to come.
Yeah, I think it can't be overstated enough, like what she did to bring eyes to that sport. Whether people want to admit it or not, it's just a...
Before Clark, the Indiana Fever was the kind of team you'd forget was even in the league. Now, they're must-watch TV.
Just looking at some of the numbers here. When we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
Clark didn't just improve the team. She turned them into contenders overnight.
Has trickled up to the WNBA this season as the league has seen unprecedented growth thanks to the emergence of a strong rookie class headlined by #1 overall pick Caitlin Clark. So WNBA released a report recently. Numbers are beyond impressive. Attendance is up 156% from last year, and more than half of all WNBA games this year have been sellouts. This year's televised games are averaging 1.32 million viewers, nearly triple last season's average of 462,000. Continuing, the WNBA's online merchandise store has already set a single-season sales record with more than 4 months left in the season, and sales are up 756%.
But it's not just about what happens on the court. Clark's impact stretches far beyond the hardwood.
The WNBA has seen record-breaking numbers this season in viewership, ticket sales, merch sales, and just overall growth of the league.
We're seeing record numbers of viewers tuning in to watch WNBA games. And who are they all coming to see? You guessed it, Caitlin Clark.
So if we look at this chart for the 2024 season, the Indiana Fever are pretty much blowing out every other team. They are averaging almost 16,000 per 39 games. So this is taking into consideration not only the Indiana Fever home games, but also when they are on the road.
She's not just a player anymore. She's become the face of women's basketball. Think about it. When was the last time there was this much buzz around a WNBA player? Clark isn't just drawing in basketball fans. She's pulling in people who've never even watched a women's game in their life.
Caitlin Clark, we all know that. They are now seeing that the Clark effect is living up to the hype. From a draft party.
Yeah, baby, did you want?
Where nearly 6,000 people attended.
Look at the crowd here. You can see where she ranks on anticipation. This is amazing to have. I was here for the draft party a few years ago, and it was nothing compared to what it is now. This is amazing.
To the team store, where gear is flying off the shelves.
From the team store, where gear is flying off the shelves, to the mainstream spotlight, Clark is making the WNBA relevant in ways it hasn't been before. But here's where it gets tricky. Clark's risen so quickly that it feels like the entire league is riding on her shoulders. And that brings us to the million-dollar question. Is this a good thing for the WNBA? You know how they say, don't put all your eggs in one basket? Well, the WNBA just learned that lesson the hard way. With Clark out of the playoffs, the league is facing a harsh reality check, and now everyone's asking, did they just fumble their golden ticket? And trust me, this goes far beyond just losing a star player.
Is going to get a rude awakening because 2 million, that click, 2 million of their fans just turned the TV back to the NFL.
Let's talk numbers for a second. Remember those packed arenas during Clark's games? Yeah, that's not happening anymore. Now, we're seeing playoff games that can't even fill half the seats.
The most dominant team in the league, they can't draw 500,000 viewers for a playoff game. Atlanta Dreamers and the New York Liberals. Again, the Liberals, they supposedly have stars. Remember when ESPN claimed that the Liberals had the new big three? Dreamers, Liberals, 410,000 viewers. The other game was the Phoenix Masculines and the Minnesota Linker.
Can you imagine walking into an arena that's supposed to be buzzing with playoff energy, only to feel like you're in a ghost town? That's the WNBA's new reality. But here's where it gets really ugly. The WNBA isn't just losing fans in the stands. They're bleeding money.
They should be getting the attention. Now they have center stage, but the ratings are going to go down. How far, though? That's the key.
And I'm not talking about pocket change here. The NBA throws $200 million at the WNBA every year just to keep it going. Meanwhile, the NBA is pulling in over $7 billion from TV deals alone. That's not just a gap, it's a Grand Canyon-sized chasm.
In 2024, the WNBA is estimated to bring in $200 million in revenue. Just for comparison, the NBA is expected to earn $13 billion. The WNBA has historically lost around $10 million per season.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but surely they've got a plan to fix this, right? Well, hold on tight, because this is where things get wild. The WNBA's marketing strategy, or lack of one, is leaving everyone scratching their heads. Get this, they haven't even made a single commercial featuring Caitlin Clark.
Kelsey Mitchell on here instead of Caitlin Clark? The face of your entire league, you left off this promotional graphic. Again, Kelsey Mitchell?
Not one. It's like they've got a golden goose and decided to keep it locked up in the barn. And it's not just about Clark. The league's entire approach to promoting its stars is getting serious criticism. One analyst even went as far as to say that without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is nothing but a polished turd. Ouch. That's not just harsh, it's a wake-up call. The league's been riding high on Clark's stardom, but they forgot to build a safety net. So what does all this mean for the future of women's basketball? We're not just talking about a bad season here. This could be a turning point for the entire league.
But the ratings are going to go down. How far, though? That's the key. And are they going to be pointing fingers and blaming Indiana Fever fans and Caitlin Clark fans whenever the ratings don't stay the same?
Without Clark in the playoffs, the WNBA is losing viewers faster than a leaky faucet. And in today's world, where attention is currency, that's a death sentence.
The attendance numbers in New York and Las Vegas last night, they were the same as Sunday night. There has yet to be a sellout in the WNBA playoffs. They couldn't even sell out the 9,000-seat Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut for the playoff debut of Katie Rue. It was the closest they came to a sellout, but it still wasn't sold out.
But here's the kicker, it didn't have to be this way. The WNBA had a golden opportunity with Clark. They could have used her star power to elevate other players and create storylines that kept fans engaged even when she wasn't on the court. Instead, they put all their chips on one player, and now they're paying the price.
She just knows that there were people on the ground pounding the pavement that were doing so much for women's basketball everywhere that deserve their praise.
Just know there are people on the ground, working hard every day to push women's basketball forward, who deserve their recognition. Now, you might be thinking, great, the WNBA's in trouble. So what's next? Well, get ready, because the solutions might surprise you. We're not just talking about a quick fix. We're talking about a complete overhaul that could change the game forever. First up, let's talk marketing. The WNBA has been riding the Caitlin Clark wave, but it's time to spread the love.
Coming in and from a marketing standpoint, yes, have eyes on her, but don't put all your eggs in one basket, because at the end of the day, we can't predict the future. We just can't.
Imagine a league where every player has their own storyline, their own fan base. We're talking about creating rivalries that get people talking, even when the big names aren't on the court. It's about making every game feel like a must-watch event. Now, let's talk about the players. The WNBA can't just sit around waiting for the next Caitlin Clark to drop into their laps.
This is why the league has to expand their vision, because you're going to get a lot of new fans that's coming.
They need to be out there scouting talent, developing skills, and creating the next generation of superstars. Imagine a league where every team has a player who makes you think, wow, I can't believe what I just saw.
But if you're not delivering the product and you're not making the revenue and you're not, giving people the entertainment that they want, then you're not going to make any money and your league is going to suck.
But here's the kicker. None of this matters if the WNBA can't keep fans engaged. They need to create storylines that last beyond a single game or season. We're talking about building team identities, creating heated rivalries, and giving fans something to root for, even when their favorite player is having an off night. And let's not forget about the money. The WNBA needs to get serious about diversifying its revenue streams. They can't just rely on ticket sales and TV deals.
The league has to be ready with its infrastructure. The league has to be ready with its tech. The league has to be ready with its vision. Think bigger.
Yes.
I'm saying think bigger, Tarika, because something.
What about merchandise? What about partnerships with other brands? There's a whole world of opportunities out there, and the WNBA needs to start exploring them. All right, let's wrap this up. We've seen how the WNBA put all its chips on Caitlin Clark, and now they're paying the price. Empty seats, plummeting viewership, and a league struggling to stay afloat. But it's not game over yet. The WNBA needs to shake things up.
Okay, I want to see some cattiness. Okay, I need entertainment. I'd literally rather watch.
Build more stars, create rivalries, and make every game an event. They can't just wait for the next Clark to show up. They need to get creative with marketing, enhance the in-person experience, and find new ways to generate revenue.
I mean, Caitlin, I just say put more marketing dollars and push behind some of the great players in the WNBA so that you can sustain this, and all of the focus, if you're saying Caitlin, and as Caitlin game is not where you thought it was going to be, you still have all these great players that you can push more. That's what I say.
But here's the real question. Can the WNBA survive without relying on just one superstar? Or is this the beginning of the end for women's pro basketball? What do you think? Share your ideas in the comments. Let's hear your game plan for saving the WNBA.